That's why it's always good to have a fellow countryman around. Thanks, Tony. Thank you for the Knights Consultants Division on providing a brilliant lunch for everybody here today. And let's put our was that PowerPoint? Was that what it's going to be? Yeah, that's what it's going to be there, Jim. I'm sorry, I thought that was what we had this morning. Now, I'd like to call upon Brother Andrew to introduce our guest speaker. Brother Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brother Carmen, Brother Chairman. Now, seeing as this seminar's focus has been on developing the order through the branches, specifically by seeking the needs of our parishes and their clergy, we are very privileged today to have someone here who, in a matter of months' time, will be undertaking that vocation where he will be ordained as a priest for the Archdiocese of Melbourne. We've gotten to know him, Brother Carmen and myself, for the last few years through the work of the Priest Support and Education Fund through the Archbishop's Dinner. He is the son of our member at Down North, Leon Rawlins. We have a commonality, Deacon Nathan and I, in that we both lived in the same street and went to the same schools, but in different decades.
You wouldn't know looking at us.
Proud St. Elizabeth's Nazareth boys. Without much further ado, I'd like to introduce everyone, Deacon Nathan Rawlins.
Thank you very much. I've been warned that I have to keep it to 20 minutes. As my father will tell you, the trick is not getting me to talk, it's getting me to shut up. So I'm going to start that timer now, and let's hope I keep to it. So I'd like to thank Carmen and Andrew for extending this invitation for me to speak to you today. I should probably just introduce myself very quickly. My name is Nathan Rawlins. I'm a deacon, transitional deacon for the Archdiocese of Melbourne. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, God willing, Bishop willing, Rector willing, to being ordained a priest, hopefully in September, which will be a wonderful occasion for me. I've done plenty of university study. I don't know if it made me any smarter or any better, but it's there. I've given me a large fee helper and HEX debt, so that's probably going to be good. Yep, I'm currently at Corpus Christi College. I entered Corpus Christi College in 2013, shortly after finishing my Bachelor of Teaching, Bachelor of Arts at ACU, and then went through the seminary program. My fourth year placement was actually here in Box Hill. So I have a long sort of connection. Every so often I've popped up on the Knights radar, I think. I ended up here in Box Hill under Father Tony Kieran. The parish next door to mine is the Dandenong North branch. I then was very privileged to receive the Walter P. Martin Award for the seminarians to go across to the Holy Land, where I went in the end of my 5th year. And then now into my 6th year, I am placed at the Dandenong parish. Going through my 7th year this year, also preparing for ordination. A couple of things about me. I'm what you would probably call a caffeine addict. I drink probably far beyond the recommended dosage of coffee. So I have Pope Clement VIII to kindly thank for that. Here you can see up there. So, as I was a deacon, as I was preparing for ordination to the diaconate, I had to go through this process of transitioning from being considered a layman to a cleric. And they really encourage you to reflect on that very heavily, on sort of that step that you are changing. And for me, I found myself going through that process, asking myself really 2 questions. Well, what is the role of the clergy? And that was pretty quickly and easily demarcated out for me. This is what a cleric does. Fantastic. But then it left an awkward question out. Was I a good layman? I couldn't answer that question very easily. Did I do the vocation of the laity well? So that got me thinking, what does it mean to be a Catholic layman? What does it mean to take up that role that Christ has given me in my baptism and strengthened me in my confirmation? Did I do it even? When I really seriously thought and considered about it, I realised that I didn't do a very good job of it. I actually kind of sucked at it, as we would say. So when Carmen and Andrew asked me to speak about what the Knights of the Southern Cross could do to help support the needs of the clergy, and when we're going into the parishes, the first thing I did was I spoke to the other seminarians. So I started with the seminarians in Australia and I spoke to them and I said, well, what can the Knights of the Southern Cross do to support us as we take that step into the parish? And we came up with a whole bunch of pragmatic ideas, but then we realised that a lot of those are reduced to locality, where those parishes are. Some parishes may need working bees or prayer groups, and some parishes might not. It's what Archbishop Peter keeps speaking about as locality. Each parish is just as unique as each person in that parish. It has its own history, its own culture. And so when I started speaking to them, we started refining it a bit more to realise that the answer to the question that had bothered me over the years was really what we needed. But then I spoke to seminarians in Ireland as well. There's a seminarian I'm in contact with named Killian there. And I asked him some of the questions that I asked the brothers. One, he said, you're very lucky to have a group of Catholic men who are willing to, be in every parish and establish these branches and stuff like that, because at the moment we don't really have that here. The ones that we had got decimated, really, after the sexual abuse crisis. And then, more and more, we thought, as the senior seminarians and deacons, we realised that what we needed before the Knights of the Southern Cross, before anything else, was we needed you to be models of the mission. The models of the mission of the church. To show the parish communities what the vocation of the laity is. It's only out of applying this to the localities of the parish that we can find out what the real things that we need to be done. So what is the disciple called to? Holiness. But holiness isn't perfection. God alone is perfect. Holiness is wholeness, a centeredness on God. That the different parts of our lives are focused in on God, and that's where we take our model from. That God calls each person to holiness and communion with himself in a very particular way. So that can be in the lay state, as those who are single, those who are married, those who are consecrated, but also in the clergy, those who have received holy orders. What is that vocation? There's one mission, but it's not your mission or my mission. It's neither of our missions, it's Christ's mission. The church has Christ's mission as its own. And this was a question that occupied the Second Vatican Council. What is the role of the laity? What is the vocation of the laity? So you see it written out there in Apostolicam Actuositate, which is very difficult. I had to practice for about 3 weeks how to say that rather fluently and not sort of stumble over it. But it's a worthwhile document to actually go and read. What does this mean? What does all of this mean? That the laity likewise share in the priestly, prophetic and royal office of Christ. That they exercise the apostolate in fact by their activity directed to the evangelization and sanctification of men, and the penetrating and perfecting of the temporal order through the spirit of the gospel. What does all of that really mean? Well, let's break it down. Christ has 3 offices, we traditionally say in the church, the trias munera. He's a priest, he's a prophet, and he's a king. And in baptism, when we're baptized, we're incorporated into the body of Christ. And those 3 offices are things that we now share in. We're entrusted with them. We are priests, we are prophets, and we are kings. Just as Christ is a priest, prophet, and king. As a priest, we are called to sanctify. As a prophet, we are called to evangelize. And as a king, we are called to order or restore the order of all things to Christ. To center things onto Christ. And how we do that depends on our religious vocation. Whether we're married, whether we're single, whether we're clergy or religious. The vocation of the laity I therefore sum up as the sanctification, evangelization, and restoration of all things to Christ. That's Christ's mission. That's the church's mission. That's our mission. Every Catholic, especially every lay Catholic, has an intrinsic right to that apostolate by virtue of their baptism and their confirmation. That's our mission, your mission, and mine. Now, often people will say, "Oh, look, Deacon, I don't have a right to do that. That's the priest's job. That's the deacon's job. That's the church's job. I just sit, stand, kneel, and say amen at certain points throughout the day. My job is to pray, pay, and obey." Yeah, no. No, anyone who tells you we're about 60 or so years after the council, anyone who tells you that the job of the laity is to pray, pay, and obey, to sit, stand, kneel, and say amen, hopefully loud enough that the deacon on the altar can hear you, hasn't read the Vatican II documents. Do you have a right to this apostolate, to be a priest, prophet, and king? Vatican II says yes. Because you derive that right from your union with Christ in your baptism. To put it in a pop culture reference, nobody puts baby in the corner. We are all part of that apostolate. The reason is we were assigned that apostolate by the Lord Himself. When the priest baptizes us, it's Christ baptizing. It's Christ giving that mission to us. The church, we often forget, is laity and clergy. But the mission of the church cannot go on unless there are both working together. So the gospel cannot be deeply grounded in the abilities, life, and work of any people without the presence of lay men. Even at the founding of a church, wherever in the world it is, we have to establish a mature Christian laity because they belong to the people of God and to civil society. Okay, that's great, Deacon, but how do we do that? Let's break them up into the three areas: the priest, the prophet, and the king. If we're priests, we're called to sanctify. These are really good areas, I think, to often sort of evangelize or consider how we're going about doing our mission. So the first one is priest. One who is called to sanctify, to offer sacrifice and prayer to God on behalf of people. So that can look like the divine office. What about the prayers that we offer for other people? What about the spiritual formation, retreats, meditations, Lectio Divina? What about the encouraging others and our own selves to celebrate Mass with full conscious and active participation? How do we model also that life of prayer and sacrifice to other men in the parish? What does it mean to model that? What is often missing in parishes is a men's spiritual ministry. I think of Robert Falzone, who does Men Alive. Some of you may have done that program or heard of it. He keeps talking about and asking the question, like most of us, where are all the men? How do we develop spirituality. We see it really strongly in the US. They've got that focus now on that. But then also as prophets, we're called to evangelize. How do we participate in the new evangelization? That thing that John Paul II and Benedict XVI and now Francis keep talking about. How do we witness to Christ? How do we spread the gospel? Now that means that we have to pay attention to how we can help others do that. How do we teach others to act and speak on matters of faith, on social justice, on the moral or the economic or the political, etc.? How do we work on our intellectual formation? How do we learn the faith? Do we run adult faith formation programs? Catechesis, where we learn the faith, and then apologetics. How do we communicate that to other people? For example, many people often tell me that, look, adult faith formation, all well and good, but that's like a pious hobby. I've got an MBA or a BA or a doctorate in law or a PhD. Why do I need faith formation? Well, we all need faith formation. Just because we've got a JD doesn't mean that we know the faith. But we have to continuously learn it over the course of our lives. Would you take your car, say you had a 2018 Toyota Yaris, would you take it to a mechanic who stopped learning how to fix cars back in 1976? No, you wouldn't. We have to update our knowledge. The truths of the faith are eternal, but we have to keep learning them and applying them. So many people say, oh, evangelization, they think you're standing on a soapbox and telling people that the end is coming. That's not my job, Deacon, that's your job. You have to evangelize. Yeah, and that's true, I do. But it's not just me. In fact, the laity, I argue, are the most adept for it. The best suited for it. Because I can't go everywhere you can. Think of the stains of clericalism, or the modern sexual abuse crisis, or the general area of religions and religious, well, I'm sorry, but you're not welcome here into this sector of our society. But there's also a presumption of condemnation. People see me and automatically presume that I'm a moralizing bigot. When they see the collar, for example, what do you think first comes to their mind? Religious nut? Bigot? Pedophile? It was one of my first experiences wearing the collar. I had to walk to CDC and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. It's cutting into the skin a little bit. And I remember seeing a lady, and we were crossing the road, and she had her little son in her hand. And as she saw me, you notice it now, you know how men look over women, like their eyes just go down and up? I had the exact same thing happen to me. That's the weirdest feeling I ever had. She sort of looked me over, grabbed her son and pulled him behind her, like that. I've heard from other priests that they don't wear the collar because it automatically has that presumption of condemnation. Press the buttons where I should be. The laity are not there to sit, stand, kneel and obey. That's not the job of the laity. The Second Vatican Council said that extremely clearly in the documents. So only one problem. No one reads the Vatican II documents because they're written in Vaticanese and they're written by theologians and philosophers. So unless you've got a theology degree, a philosophy degree and an Oxford dictionary at hand, you can't make hightail sense of it sometimes. I say that the laity need to go to the peripheries and gossip the gospel. That's something Pope Francis talked about. To spread the gospel by gossiping it, in a sense. Speaking of it quietly. Standing up and pointing out principles as we go along. we come to the last one, the king. A king's job in the Bible was to order everything towards God, to make sure that the civil state was directed towards God. King David did it, Solomon did it, the rest of the Israelite kings, and David and Solomon actually tried to do it and often weren't that very good at it. So we need to restore the gospel to the centre point of our society. So where is our social justice outreach in this regard? This is what motivates it. We see a problem, we apply the principles to it, and we try and work out a practical way to fix it. It's a very masculine way of doing things. Women generally don't like when I say that. But it means that we apply those gospel principles to our locality, to our parish. So we think of the 4 principles of Catholic social teaching. The dignity of the human person, because every person is created in the image and likeness of God. The common good. It's not just about what's good for me, it's what about good for everyone. Solidarity. We stand with our brothers and sisters, we're not on our own. And subsidiarity. The lowest levels, the grassroots levels, are often the best place for this work, for this change. So we have to ask ourselves, how can my local society be centred on the gospel? But is my own understanding of sort of worldly things, is it ordered rightly? There's one problem. Very often the laity feel that they can't do it. I haven't been taught how to do this. I don't know what this looks like. I argue that there's 2 problems there. First is what I call purple ecclesiology. There's this horrible image of the church, which is promoted often by the media, that when you speak about the church, it's men in black dresses with buttons down the front, with bald patches, and a passion for medieval haberdashery. It's priests, deacons, and bishops who are the church, and everyone else is just sort of on the side. They're members, sort of a club. They don't play on the field, but they sit in the stands and they can wave the banners. That's the best they can do. No. We say that the church is the entire people of God. But what we often see is that the laity need formation. They need models of what that vocation of a priest, prophet and king in my situation looks like. I can stand up there and tell them, but they need an example. I can give the best example I can, but I can't model it in family life. I can't model it in my workplace, because my workplace is the parish. I need other models, other people to work with me. We need to establish a mature Christian laity. What they need, I argue, is models. They need people to model what it means to be a good Christian man. Because when they see an example, they can follow it. When we're kids, we model ourselves off our fathers. Our understanding of what it means to be a man often comes from our father, which comes from his father, which comes from his father. Even as a priest, I'm realizing more and more as I get towards priesthood and I'm asked to reflect on these things, my understanding and modelling of ministry is from the priests who have gone before me. My parish priest, the priests that I studied with, the priests that I had to work under in parishes, the formators in the seminary. I model myself off them. I do as they do. How I think the Knights of the Southern Cross can help the laity is to model the lay vocation in all its wonder. But what about the clergy? What do we need? One seminarian I spoke to in the hallway said, If I can ask you something, could you just tell them one thing? The life of a priest is joyful, but it's not always happy. What I need most is fraternity and support. That's the same what I heard from Ireland. That's the same that I found when I went to visit the North American College in Rome. We can't do it on our own. We need the support of our laity. But we need that fraternal relationship as well. We need brothers. We have them in the seminary, and it's great. We have our brothers to tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, to support and to remind us that we're supposed to do a little bit better. But then you get out into the parish, and you're maybe one, or you might be on your own, there may be two. If you're lucky, maybe sometimes there's even 3 priests in the parish. But you still need that fraternal support. Otherwise you feel isolated. So I'd like to ask 2 questions. Can the Knights of the Southern Cross model for the parish and form the parish for the mission of the laity? Can the Knights of the Southern Cross show in their lives and invite others to participate in that extraordinary mission of the church that is specifically given to the laity in all its breadth, depth, and wonder? When I was at CGC, one of the lecturers used to say, the most important word you'll ever learn about spirituality comes from the first word of the Rule of St. Benedict, obsculta. As Father Austin Cooper used to say this. It means listen. Not hear, to listen. Not just through your ears, but at the level of your heart. I don't think this has been heard or listened to. So I'll say it now in conclusion. Hear, O Christian knight. You are a priest, a prophet, and a king. Recognize your dignity, that the mission of Christ has been given to you by Christ himself. You are a priest, one who sanctifies and offers sacrifice. Sanctify the world with more models, because it needs it. It needs models of sanctification in all the corners of the world, just as Christ sanctified the world. You are a prophet. You are one who is an upholder of holiness in the world about you. Evangelize the world and take the gospel to the ends of the earth. For this is the mission of Christ gave you at your baptism. To make known to God's people their salvation through forgiveness of their sins. That loving kindness in the heart of our God, who has visited us like the dawn from on high. To give light to those in darkness and those who dwell in the shadow of death. And you are a king. You are one who rightly orders the temporal world, whatever that kingdom may be. Restore the world to Christ, so that God may be all in all, and to guide this land, Australia, into the way of true peace. Please, work with me. Work with us. That's the only way the mission of Christ can be worked. The only way it can be done. We can only do it together. Thank you.
Along with Deacon Nathan here, questions from the floor. Don't be shy.
Yes.
I think I heard you say you have to wear the collar.
No, you don't. you don't have to wear the collar, but I guess it's a choice that a lot of the younger ones coming through are making. It's sort of like a billboard. I become a walking billboard for Christ because we live in a society that's Christ-haunted, as Bishop Barron likes to say. You know, that we've pushed Jesus to the side, but he's sort of still there in the background. We see it in our social, in our media, in our culture, especially in our art, in our movies. You see it sort of popping up everywhere. Christ is sort of there. So whenever people see me, the first thing they think of is church, Jesus, and then they add on all the other little bits afterwards. I don't have to wear it, but I choose to wear it, I guess.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In light of what you've said,
Yep.
the Royal Commission on Child Sexual Abuse, which must be one of the biggest challenges
Yep.
coming through the setting of living in priesthood. How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with that? Yeah. I guess I'm from a weird generation. I entered seminary in 2013, which means that when I was going through high school and going through uni, the Herald Sun often had, pedophile priest, blah, 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 on the front page almost every day. My classmates at my alma mater used to stick the vocations pamphlets in my locker in year 9 every day, and I used to open it up, and this was during the highest point of the sexual abuse crisis. And I'd open up my locker every morning and these pamphlets would fly out at me. And I'd collect them all up and put them back in the chapel. And the next day this would happen again and again. If there was an article, I was guaranteed to read it because it was rolled up and stuck in my article in my locker as well. So I dealt with a lot of that. You see yourself as part of the solution, not part of the problem. That's often what I've found. A lot of us sort of see ourselves, we're not here to be a part of the problem. We're not part of the problem. We're here to be part of the solution. And it's a long, hard road. It's uphill. We need all the support we can get. But you learn to sort of unite it with the sacrifices of Christ. People saw Christ and went, oh, well, he must be a nut and things like that. They thought he was all sorts of things. But it's not something that was new to the church as well. I think a good dose of church history, as sometimes boring as it can be, is often sometimes the best solution to that. This isn't the first time we've gone through this over our 2,000-year history. You sort of started with the Roman Empire persecuting us, then we went good. But then we became a bit worldly. So Anthony went out into the desert and started the Desert Fathers. And then people started leaving the big cities in Egypt and were going out into the desert to visit these crazy men living in caves who were praying all day. Because it was just so completely unknown. And then from that, the monasteries came about. Benedict established the monasteries in the West. But then the monasteries went bad, and then God called Francis along. And then the Franciscans started, and 1,000 people joined before Francis had even died. In his first year or two, I think he had about 1,000 people around Assisi running around in brown cloaks, preaching about God. And then the Mendicant orders, we saw the same thing with Dominic. Then we saw the same thing during the Protestant Reformation. Everyone thought that was the end of the world. The church was completely shattered. Then the Jesuits came along, and they were good. Then we had the French Revolution, and we thought, oh, well, there's secularism's won. And then the Oblates came out of that. Society of the Holy Cross, I believe, as well. Nowadays, who? Out of the Spanish Civil War, you had Opus Dei. All of these different groups. Every so often, things get worse, and then God steps in and zaps, and it gets better. And then it teeters off, and then it gets better. This is the ebb and flow of the church. But today's problem is not going to be solved, I think, by a religious order. We'll do the best we can. It's part of it. I think a lot of the healing for the sexual abuse crisis is not going to come from statements or from a new religious order who's dedicated to whatever. I think it's going to come from the laity. I think it's going to come from the Knights of the Southern Cross. think it'll come from you. You will show people what Christianity is. What it means to live the life of a Christian man. Because that inspires us as well. When we see the laity living the Christian life, that invigorates us. We go into parishes going, yes, we can do this. I can step into this parish, okay, it might be broke and there might be a history of sexual abuse and things like that, or it could be that there is no one cares. But when you meet a group of core people who want to live the Christian life in its full, that keeps you going. That keeps me going. Keeps many of us going. So you learn to ride, you keep that in mind, the history of the church as well. But from my time in the seminary, I see good days coming. People talk about clericalism. I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. I don't think many of my brothers who fully grasp the layout of the church today, after the sexual abuse crisis and clericalism and things like that, can truly hold on to this idea that I'm a priest, therefore I must be better than everyone else. I don't really think they can. I think a lot of them are like, no, I want to work with the people. Because we can't do it on our own. When you think of what, there's 1 billion Catholics. A lot of this work, we can think, oh yeah, no, Father, that's your job. There's 1 billion Catholics, isn't there, in the world, or something like that? Do you know how many of those are priests, bishops and deacons? Something like that. It's about 400,000 all over the world. I'm outnumbered substantially.
This is why he needs our help.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Yeah.
Just want to ask on the as part of our formation to recruit more youngsters in the Niagara and Southern Cross, and I mean everybody agrees with me. There is more need of priests as well.
Yes.
Big need of priests.
Yes.
So, what do you think? What is the issue here? Is it the calling? There is no like lot of callings, or is it the answer that you answer selflessly or generously? Your how you answer that calling, which? I think it's. In my opinion, it's the answer.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot of factors that can encourage or inhibit someone from responding to what God calls them to do. I don't think that there's a. I don't think our problem is a lack of number of clergy, though. What do we say? You know, there's the seminary has 50 seminarians in it for the province of Victoria and Tasmania and Adelaide as well. Now we take the Adelaide province and the Victoria province, so we're close to being a national seminary at this rate. But how many Catholics practice? Lay Catholics practice? 11%. In some areas of the world, it's 7%. We think Australia, we actually have the highest record, I think. I think ours is close to 7 or 6% of Catholics, total Catholics, practice the faith. That means going to Mass once a month. Not every week, once a month. That's what they narrowed it down to. What we need are models in sort of the laity. But as we live the life of laity, then we can discern our vocation. Unless you're a really strong layman, if you're a really strong layman, if you live the Christian faith fully as a layman, when you step into clerical life, or married life, or religious life, that's when you flourish as well. Because you've got that solid foundation. So many people don't have that at all. God can call them to be a priest, but they need that foundation of support as well.
One last question. Brother Jerry?
Well, I was just going to, you mentioned catechesis. I was wondering if there's an expanded sort of role you could
Sure.
read on that.
That's the dangerous question. My biggest area that I like to focus on is adult faith formation. Those of you who remember when I was here in Box Hill, I created and ran a faith formation program. And I did my master's capstone on the need for adult faith formation. It's something that I harp on quite a lot about. One thing where the Council Fathers did notice, and that John Paul II did notice later, was that we had many of the laity didn't actually know the faith. They couldn't define the measures of the faith, the articles of the faith. They didn't know what the church taught on certain matters. If you asked a Catholic, how many gods do the Catholics worship, they would say 3. No. One God, 3 persons. And then if you ask them questions about the moral life, and they say, well, basically, if it has to do with sex, the church is against it, and the church, and then other things that come through sort of media influences and things like that. These false ideas of what the church teaches on certain areas just comes through. If we want to know Christ, we have to get to know Him. Sounds simple enough. That means we have to get to know Him in the Gospels. St. Jerome said, ignorance of the Gospels is ignorance of Christ. But ignorance of sort of the church's teachings is ignorance of the church as well. What does it mean to live my life? So the way I sort of explain it is that Jesus says, there's 2 commandments. What's the first commandment? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. With all my heart, sure, I'm good with that. With all my soul, yes, sir. With all my strength, you call a working bee, I'll be there. My mind, no, that's only for priests and deacons. Like you only really study Catholicism if you really want to be like one of the priests and the deacons and one of those nuts. Everyone else just does everything else, and that's where that purple ecclesiology problem comes in. Everyone thinks, oh well, that's not my responsibility. If evangelization is the responsibility of everyone, as has been hammered to us almost every 10 years since the council, that means we have to actually know the faith before we can talk to other people about it. So there's plenty of resources out there. The main impetus for the catechism was so that the Catholics could actually know the faith. And that they realised that that was too long and wordy, so they tried to shorten it, so they made the compendium of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And now we have all these programs. We have Word on Fire, we have Symbolon, we have the Augustine Institute. There are so much resources coming through both digitally and in print. But we're hesitant to pick them up because we go, well, no, that's not for me. That's for deacons and priests, etc. Yeah. I can go on and on and on about that. I won't. Because, we don't want to do that.
Just one comment.
Yeah.
Nathan, it's really good to see you in a clerical culture. I believe, we recognise firemen, we recognise policemen, we recognise ambulance people, all sorts of people, and yet so many priests refuse to wear the clerical collar. I believe it's beautiful that you do, and that many priests do that. And it's recognised. So wonderful.
Yeah, it's a bit like uniform. It's not all bad though, I must admit. I have gone into when I had to go and organise something for a seminary convivium. It's basically a party, and I went into BWS, which is, I forgot about whole priests being, having problems with alcoholism, so that image wasn't very good. Because that's not my generation. We don't have alcoholism. Not yet. Oh, God willing, hopefully not. But I walked in there, and this young man behind the counter was just sort of like weirdly looking to me, and he goes, "Can you guys drink?" And I went, "Yes, I'm Catholic." The pint, the pipe, the pot, and the catechism all work together, mate. Don't worry. stuff is on special down the back, and I kept a few bottles aside, but don't worry, Father, I'll pull one out for you. It's like, oh,
I've been very fortunate to have Deacon Nathan at St Mary's, and they can talk, so there's no problems about that.
like I said, shut up.
But thank you very much. I just want to call Brother Andrews to pass on thank you on behalf of the Knights of Southern Cross. But I truly appreciate you coming today. I will apologise now. We've got a little gift which I'm going to drop into you, and I'll drop into you next
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brothers.
As Brother comes in again, would like to thank Deacon Nathan for giving him his time to come here and to address us. When we were thinking about who we could get to address this seminar, I thought about what the topic of the seminar would be, about the future role of the Knights, and it occurred to me to go to someone who's not already a priest but about to become a priest, to see what their needs could be going forward, what they themselves going in would be. So we thank Deacon Nathan for coming today, for giving him his time, for coming up with that great, wonderful presentation, and for giving us such a great talk. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're just going to have a 5-minute break. Just while we just pack up and
Don't worry, I'll be around St. Mary's anyway. Hey, how's it going? Excellent.
don't go too far.
Excellent. No. I haven't actually. That's one thing I have to learn to do.
No, that's all right. Andrew, you need to walk back in.
Thank you, Father. Brothers, as you can see, the good work of the Pre-Supported Education Fund does pay off, and it was 4 years ago that I met Deacon Nathan, and he will be pushing the Knights in a big way going forward. So he does love to talk, and but he's definitely passionate about the KSC. The other night I actually attended a district meeting down, I think it was 4 branches, Box Hill, Knox, Rosanna McLeod and Doncaster. And we did a quick summary about Barney's Picnic. And we got the main organiser of Barney's Picnic here, so I just wanted to, I thought it was very moving the way he spoke, and I'd like him to give us a wrap summary of this year's Barney's Picnic. So I'd like to call upon our cook today, Brian Moore.
Some of you know who I am, Brian Moore from Doncaster, and I've been looking after Barney's for the last 19 years. God willing, 19th of April next year will be my 20th year of looking after Barney's. Barney's is the greatest thing that the Knights have. We have a bus that leaves here at St Francis Xavier, 6:30 on a Sunday morning. We go to Longwood, where the Brodies look after us at Longwood Sports Ground. Breakfast nearly as good as what we put on today. Nearly as good. Then we get to Barney's, and brothers that haven't been, you have to go. It is the greatest cathedral in the world. It is the greatest cathedral in the world. You're there with 100 brothers, and we've got the greatest cathedral in the world. God's country. The Murray River runs alongside the left-hand side, and it is the most enthralling day that you could ever imagine. Anybody that can make it, when you put it in your calendar for the 19th of April, think Easter is a week before Barney's. That's the way to think about it. Don't get me wrong, brothers, family come first, and if you don't make it, you are committed to family. I agree with that. But if you can make it, we'll have a 45-seater bus this year, because there were a lot of brothers involved in families, and I'd say that we kind of had a little bit of a letdown. But next year we fill the bus up. All we have to look after, basically, we've got to look after our driver, we look after him. But again, brothers, if you want to come to the greatest day on God's earth, come to Barney's Picnic at Barnawatha. They got rid of the 2 blokes. We'll bring up our own bandits so we can enjoy the greatest day. As I said, God blesses us. We've got that beautiful white cross nailed to a tree, and if you can make it, God bless us all. Let's get there.
As I said, it was one of the most passionate speeches he gave the other night. I wanted to make sure he did it today. But this year, the numbers weren't right on. We've got a bus that fits 50 people. Let's make sure we fill it. I've assured him next year, it's his 20th year. Let's bloody fill that bus. Alright? Now we're running a little bit behind schedule now, so I'm going to get a few people up. If we could try and speed the day up, that'd be great. First of all, I would like to call upon one of our brothers from Mentone, Jim Mount. He's in the process of doing his memoirs, or he's done his memoirs. He just wants to give us a bit of a wrap.
Yeah.
All right?
Thanks.
No one sees straight ahead.
Yeah, I wrote my memoir last year, and I had a lot of help from a good friend. I'm not into IT, I can only 2-finger type, but as long as you can use Microsoft Word or word processing, you can do this. It's not that hard. So the hardest thing is to make the decision to do it and to do it. Now, my main aim in doing it isn't to publish it. It was to give it to my children and grandchildren. And the Knights is to promote Christian way of life throughout the community. Well, I say we're all in a position where we can pass it on to our children and our grandchildren. We do that by what we do. but it's nothing like having it written down. And I have put this together, and I've called it a little bit of everything because it's got a little bit of my faith and my beliefs and my work and my play and everything I've done and what I believe in. And I think that is a great thing for us to do as Knights. We should all do it and pass it on. I've given it to I've got 11 grandchildren at the moment. I'll have 12 later this year. But I've given it to a couple of them that are 13. And the first one said, "What's a memoir?" You know. And I said, "Well, it's about my life and what I believe, and I'd like you to have it, you know." And a month or so later, he said, "I've been reading that. It's pretty bloody good, you know." And what I've done today, and what I suggest that you do, if you're going to, has anyone done a memoir?
Got a life story.
Think life story. Thinking about it. Well, don't think about it anymore. Get some photos of when you're a child and all that sort of thing, and work around that. Like I've got photos of my 4 brothers when we were kids, my mother and father's wedding, and I talk about it. So I talk about my parents, because that'll be my grandchildren's great-grandparents. They don't know a thing about it. They'll know it, because I've written it in this. So, and then I've got photos right through it, and you can write. It's not that hard to do. But once you get started, I found it relatively easy. So what I've done today is I'll get Bob Rasky just to hand these out. This is for everybody. A copy of the first 8 pages of this memoir. Have a read of it, not today, when you go home. The introduction, I'd say, is one of the key parts of it, because in that, I say we should say to her, when we're writing it for our grandchildren, what do I believe? What's life all about? And you can write it in there in 2 or 3 pages, and then you go in and talk about your childhood, where you went to school, all these sort of things. Just a chatty way. You're writing it for your grandchildren. It's not, you've got to write it fairly simply. And they don't want drama, they just want to know the facts. And mine turned out to be 181 pages, and it took me about a year, but not flat out all the time. It was just every now and then when I do a little bit on it. So, and that was my first. I could see when I was going through it, it's just going to be too big. So I limited my first 50 years. And I plan to write another one, probably in about 5 or 6 years' time on the rest, because a lot's happened since I was 50, believe it or not. So that'll be a sequel. But I think as Knights, we're in a great position, like our grandchildren especially. What sort of faith do we want them to get, you know? You can talk about it, but having it written down there, how important was your first communion to you? I've got a photo in here, and because they're going through these things. My mother kept this for me. Yeah, there's a photo there when I made my first communion at St Margaret Mary's in East Brunswick in 1951 or 2. And I talk a bit about how I felt when I went through that process, I was excited, I was joined in the community, first time I'd had community. And when I was confirmed, I wrote about that too. So you can go through the whole thing. And I think as Knights, if we can do it, and a number of people can do it, there's nothing to stop us in the future, in our parishes. We can say, well, we've written this to have a meeting one night and say, try to get other people that are our age and been through a lot and got grandchildren and that to write one themselves. So because passing on our religion to the future generations is a way we can do it anyway, and it's in writing. Well done.
Well done, Jim. We had a branch member at North Daniel, and he was dying, and And in the last 3 years prior to death, he put together his memoirs of his whole life. And it was one of the best things. And then on the day of the funeral, every person got his memoirs given.
And to that, at the moment I'm putting together a history because it's the 50th anniversary of the celebration of the opening of our church building, and I've actually referred to his memoirs in helping me with that.
Yeah, right. In part of mine, I was brought up in East Coburg, and I talk about when East Coburg, the church opened, Archbishop Mannix turned up, and the crowd was all cheering and all that sort of thing, you know, and what East Coburg was like in 1950, you know. So, you know, you can put all that in it.
Any questions to Jim?
You know, there's no recipe on how to do
What's it cost you so far? It's just hours or?
Yeah, like that. You can get it printed at Officeworks. I got that printed at Officeworks. They cost about $20 to get it printed. They do a terrific job.
Yeah.
And I've got 6 children and 11 grandchildren at the moment. So I've got 20 printed. I'm only giving it to them. So,
Christmas gift.
Yeah, Christmas gift. Like that.
Birthday gift. Well done, Jim. Well done. Also, last week whilst I was at the district chairman, we had Brother Bill Lannington, the former chairman of another body. That's correct, Bill? Yeah. If I could call upon Bill just to maybe a project that branches could look at, and if I could get you to come up and
Thanks, Carmen. Just before I get on to the main thing, as you know, Nutter Wading Range, we initiated a couple of very McKillop appeals over the years. We keep in contact with them. I got an email the other day. On the 21st of May, they received a donation from the Knights of $1,000. It was a direct deposit into their account, but they don't know where it came from. They don't know whether it was a branch or it was a member. So unless they find out who it is, they'll have to put it in as anonymous. And I hate to think that the Knights are not going to get credit for that. So it goes for a good cause. So if anybody knows anything about it, please let me know.
if nobody answers, just say it's from the head office.
What I was going to say is what we've been talking about our branch of recent times, and maybe if we just keep Nathan's thoughts in our mind as I talk. The Royal Commission into the institution response to the Child Sexual Abuse Report comprised 17 volumes, which included 800 pages specifically dealing with the Catholic Church. It was 4,445 individuals who alleged abuse against 1,885 priests and religious within the Church from 1950 to 2010. We lay in being shocked, horrified and embarrassed. But what have we done? What have we done? What have we been able to do in response? Very little. The Archdiocese of Melbourne has been operating the Melbourne response for several years, including CareLink, which has provided counselling, health and spiritual support to over 700 victims, but mostly for their clinical needs, that is, referrals to external health service providers. The last paragraph on the CareLink website refers to pastoral care needs, but little is known to what extent this is undertaken. What is known is that Father Kevin Dillon has been providing pastoral care for the past 10 years, the last 5 years under the banner of Lifeboat Geelong Foundation. Lifeboat's chief purpose is to give victims a sense of respect, understanding and compassion through faith and spiritual support. Lifeboat also offers practical day-to-day living and family support for about 175 survivors, giving assistance accessing education, employment,
medical and other support group. Lifeboat believes in giving the abused a hand up and never a hand out. Their aim is always about dignity, self-respect, showing and hopefully giving hope for a better future. Common condition among members of sexual abuse is post-traumatic stress disorder, often accompanied by an inability to manage finance well. Lifeboat is distributing about $50,000 a year to alleviate financial stress. Notwithstanding opportunities to receive payments from Albert Response, ability to sue, a lot of victims do not want to replace the institutional church, but prefer to reach out to somebody like Father Kevin, simply for moral support, pastoral care, and recognition of the harm done, and not a handout. Nutaway Branch has provided $1,900 of support over the last few years. Recently sold raffle tickets to help raise $60,000 for employment of paid help to assist in expanding numbers of victims. We must not forget Father Kevin's AM award for his good works, which were most amply evident at the Mass reception for his recent 50th anniversary of ordination. He has written of his grateful support of Nutaway Branch over the years. Brothers, we have a challenge. We have a chance to atone for the sins of a minority clergy by your generous donations to Lifeboat. Details are in pamphlets which I will distribute. Please consider making Lifeboat a branch project where donations can be made by the branch and by the members. If you want more copies of the pamphlet, please contact me. If you've got a pen and paper, my email address is wplan@iinet.net.au. I can send you one as an attachment for you to print. Lifeboat does not receive any government or church support and relies solely on donations. In addition, Lifeboat is currently seeking assistance from professionals and trade people who could be called upon in case of need and maybe even offer a part-time admin position. If you fit this bill or know somebody who does, please let me know by email or my phone number, which is 9876 4538, or the last resort, Paul at the head office. There was also a fundraising evening for Lifeboat on the 25th of July at the Saria restaurant in Roeville. If you're able to attend, please see me at the end of the day or via my email address and phone number. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Just a question, how widespread is the Illicit work?
He's got, what does it say, he's got about
175 survivors.
Across Victoria or across July?
Well, some of them in the state. It takes up a lot of his time, part of his duties. I rang him up once to ask him something, and he didn't get back to me for a few days. And I saw him at a function, and he said, I had 32 replies to my phone. So he spent a lot of time on it. I think sometimes a bit of a
project as in state council. At this point in time, we can't look at a state council level, but we're happy to support at branch level, no problems. Basically, they need people that can assist, just really a listening, somebody that listens to them. I've already said to Father that I don't believe I've got the contacts to be able to do it. But we're definitely putting it out. If there are people that feel that they can help in any way, tell them. If you can come and see us, and we'll pass on your names to Father Dylan. But in the short term, if branches, if there's money you'd like to donate to the event, contact us and we'll make sure the funds go there. But at least if you want to come to a dinner, the aim is we're going to try and get 3 to 5 tables on the night. Thursday, July the 25th. It's a long way from my house, Rowville. So, but it will be a fantastic night. It will be a fundraiser. So if you'd like to come, let us know, and we'll make sure we have a few tables on that night. Because as Steve heads, the place is booked for 250 people. Okay. Actually, Brother Kevin's been waiting a while, so let's get Brother Kevin up. We'll get. Are you happy to do both at the same time, or do you want to do one and then a break? And
No. It's it won't take a lot of time at all.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully, it's a bit groggy today. Thanks, Brother Carmen. Thanks for this opportunity.
Excuse me. Can you hear me? Testing. Sorry.
Thank you, Brother Carmen. Talking about the State Development Committee, you will recall that one of these seminars 3 years ago, we asked for, I was on State Council at the time, we asked for people who were interested in being part of this development committee to progress the order further, to put up your hands. We actually got 8 or 9 people on the day who responded. By the time we got ourselves organised and had our first meeting, we whipped it down to 6 folks who started work on the development committee, and we've made a lot of progress over the years. We've done presentations, you'll recall, mostly by Brother John Hennessy and also by Brother Neil Daly over the period of seminars that we've had over these 3 years. But now through various illness and work commitments and so forth, we're down to 4 members. It's Brother John Hennessy, who you heard earlier, who's over in Adelaide making a presentation today that Brother Michael gave us earlier, to the South Australian State Council. So he's leading us at the present time, Brother Michael Palmer, Brother Andrew Vicario, and myself. So we've got a fair sort of a workload at the moment, and now we're appealing for others to step up, to assist us to progress the order over the next couple of years. You don't need any special knowledge. You don't need presentation skills or so forth, but Brother John Hennessy has led us through a process where we can now present these packages to branches, districts and branches, and as Brother Michael said earlier today, the more that we do it, the better we get at it. So skills will be passed on to you on presentations and what have you. So we're appealing today for members to really seriously think about putting your name down and to help us to progress the order. We meet monthly, it's usually on the second Wednesday of the month, so that we can plan ahead and what have you. We circulate most of our draft programs that we've been working on by email, and by the time we get to the next meeting, we're all prepared to comment and to update those programs as we go on. So the system works very well. So to really seriously think about it, brothers, we need assistance. We really do.
Okay, on that note, I'm just going to butt in. If we're going to have a show of hands who'd like to be on the committee. They've got 4 at the moment, 4's not enough. We need another 2.
We need at least 2 to progress this.
Yes, Brother Mark? Okay, and 1 more. We need 6. We need 6.
But that's a fresh blood pressure.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Do we need talkers like it's all right to...
I'm preoccupied at the moment, as you know, so...
Yeah, we're all preoccupied too. There you go.
And it'd be good if we get...
Yeah, Brother Steve Murphy, he's going to us long.
Okay, so we've got...
This is from Backsmart.
No, Mark's from Bacchus Marsh, and Steve's from Werribee.
He couldn't be here today.
No, he had a function on today. He's on Portugal today. Okay, well, we've got those 2. If anybody else, don't be shy. Yeah, it's all right, just throw up your hand now. But come and see us during our afternoon tea break. As I said, at the end of the day, different ideas, different people, it sort of just makes life a bit easier. So when you come to these days, you're hearing new things. All right? Well done.
The one that follows on from that, brothers, is also follows on from Brother Michael's presentation this morning, which is about the needs of our church and how we can put those needs into portfolios. We saw it in practice here today. The next move is to appoint a branch development officer in this branch who can, with the assistance of the district chairman and the chairman of the branch, implement that program we saw today into your branch. Now this is a very, very important step as we go forward. So really think about who would be the best person in your branch to fulfil that role. And there's plenty of encouragement and mentoring through our development committee, the state development committee, to help them and to guide them. So really give that some serious thought, brothers.
Can they be linked into your, like I've already got one, we can't come to executive bench, can't come to branch meetings, but can they be linked into your email thing?
Well, if you want him to be your branch development officer, yes, we can. We can cover it, we can run him through the program.
He's already met with John.
Yep, yes. Alright.
But that's
Great idea.
It's just that I want to be non-executive. He works for the railways and can't.
No, great idea. We will mentor him, or that person who you appointed in your branch, we will mentor him how to produce that program in the branch. But also that's done under the guidance of the district chairman and the branch chair. So the district chairman will be fully out of favour of the program, and the branch chairman will be as well. So think about who would be the best person to have in your branch as a branch development officer. And on the outcome of that work will be that we move further into our state plan. We're 3 years into the state plan already, and this will bring the branches along into the future. Brothers, let's give it some serious thought as who the best person in your branch might be. Thanks, brothers. this book is? This is the state handbook. Now, last reviewed by our former Deputy State Chairman, Brother John Tetra, and I helped him with it. That was done in 2010. And I don't know when the last review before that was of the handbook, but it was before I was a member, and I joined in 1992. Now, the idea of the handbook, it was set up, when we reviewed it in 2010, would be so that if members have any suggestions or think that some improvements could be made in the handbook, we done quite quickly, rather than having to make a whole lot of new handbooks. We could just say, okay, section 2 has been revamped, and here's a copy for each branch, and you just replace the 4 pages for section 2 in your handbook with these 4. Now, time moves on, and it's surprising how 9 years later, and we haven't actually had too much input back from the branches, whether, you know, what they think of the handbook and are they using it? Is there something in there that's a bit out of date? We're always looking for branches to give us positive feedback. Now, just as a bit of an exercise, in February, I reviewed section 2 of the handbook, order structure, and I just had a look for myself, just off the top of my head, and I made about this. Don't know if you can see it all, but there's quite a few red pages, red comments. That's just things that I found, and I actually wrote that part with Brother John. So I'm sure members who are out in the branches will also be finding things that may no longer apply, why could be better written and things like that. So first of all, Order Development Committee encourages branches to use the handbook, to at least your chairman should have a copy of the handbook, and we encourage all members to have a copy or at least access to it so they can have an idea what their roles are as branch executive members and the structure of the order and other useful things. We didn't redevelop the handbook for branches just to keep it in the company. We want you to be using it. And when you find something that's clearly not current or out of date or could be better, we'd like you to come back to the Order Development Committee with a suggestion. Hopefully constructive, saying we think section 5 really needs to be rewritten. We don't want anything like the whole thing should be just thrown in the bin. That's things like that. We take your feedback seriously, and we'd like to work on that. But and also we would like I think it would be a useful exercise, maybe a couple of times a year, if as a syllabus item, just each branch took a section of the handbook, we just read through it, a short section, and then just encourage feedback from the members about whether they think that's something that actually the handbook's actually reflecting what we're doing as our order, or could we improve, or is it giving us ideas to change our the way we conduct our meetings? Are we getting a bit slack in the way we handle our meetings and what we're doing? So just those 2 things. First of all, look at the handbook and let your development committee know of any suggestions you have to update or refine the handbook, and also encourage its use at a few meetings throughout the year as a syllabus item, just to be familiar with what we're supposed to be doing, following our processes as members of the Knights of the Southern Cross and branches.
Well, just a key question, I'm hoping you're going to say yes. It needs to be in electronic format.
Yes, it is in electronic.
Yeah, and as a new branch, I should have been given one by now.
Yes, you certainly should have been given one. It is in electronic format, but if I have an electronic format, it's only about this big, it's not very interesting, so it's a bit better to have a printed version, but it's certainly available electronic format, and we'll make sure you have one by the end of the day if possible.
I think I've got an old thing with whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the reason being is if you were using the portfolio holders things which were in there, but they're all out now, when you get a new executive, you can just flip a copy across from the executive holder. You can never, there's the portfolio.
Yeah, that's the aim of the handbook. Yeah.
That's
So I think we've after 9 years, I think we've had a bit of an opportunity to get familiar with it now, and we should be probably doing some updates. But certainly the Audit Development Committee will be intending to take feedback from branches and look at updating that handbook on a more regular basis.
So the four main roles, like the chairman, deputy chairman, treasurer and secretary, I'm assuming, I might be wrong, but I'm assuming that they're pretty much up to scratch. And they're the main ones, and they're the ones that, you know, like...
The only thing that's not in there is the audit development. That's the only thing that's not in there.
Right. And what about the Constitution keeps coming up? And when we do our pledge and everything else, we're swearing to, I don't even know, I've never seen it. What's in it?
The Constitution is a different document. We'll be talking about that a little bit later today.
Next topic.
Thank you for your attention.
This time of year, the branch chairman's change. You've just been going through your elections. So if there is any branch that does not have a handbook, let us know today, and we'll through Brother Andrew, he'll email out to whoever doesn't have a handbook, especially the new branches. You've got it on. Yeah. So, and with the Constitution as well. If you want a copy of the Constitution, that's available as well. Right, so how many, just put up your hand, new chairmen that don't have order handbook?
I'm also conscious of the fact that when we sign up new brothers or whatever, the wording of all of that is a bit dubious. So it's revamping. The wording of it.
Look, you would have seen from when we commenced the new branches, when I've done the induction, I've left the last bit out, so you don't have to read all of it. It's got to work out what's reasonable and what's not, and so you can change it.
So Chairman, what about the new district chairman? Unfortunately, we got some very new one, district chairman, which don't have anything to be guided to.
Brother Don should have it. If he's not on email, it's the problem.
He is.
He's not on email, but we'll arrange Don. We'll arrange Don to get a copy. All right. But have you got your email address here, Don? Have you got an email address? Andy? No. Sorry. Where are you at? Camberdown. Have you got a business card? Yes. We'll make sure that you'll get an email today. So this card here will be used for two things. As I asked before, business cards have been advertised in the new directory that Brother Dominic is putting together, a metropolitan and a country one. All right, Dom? Both. And so Jared will definitely get one. And we've got Peter O'Toole's email? No. No? Just don't tell me you haven't got it. No, I have. You don't tell me you're used for a British speaker. No, I haven't. So, just as soon as somebody becomes a branch chairman, the previous branch chairman should pass it on, but because we're here today, we want to make sure that everybody's got one. Just come and see us, and Andrew will make sure that you get one by the time you get home tonight. Okay, now we're talking about the Constitution, and we moved probably how many years ago now? It was moved probably 6-7 years ago at a state conference. 7 years ago at a state conference, that life members should be allowed to vote at state conferences. It had to be a change in the Constitution. We haven't changed that Constitution, therefore it hasn't become formal. We're in the process of putting some changes to the Constitution. I'd like to call upon our State Administration Officer, Paul Zammit, just to give us an update of the projected changes we're looking at doing.
actually say isn't part of the Constitution. So one of the things I probably want to point out is that rituals and they're not part of the Constitution. The Constitution speaks more about what privileges you have, how you vote. So it's more about privileges, objectives that you've got in that area. So the Constitution itself isn't holding us back in many ways, in many ways at all. But in fact, what I've discovered is that the Constitution should probably remain as constant as possible throughout the whole lifetime. So the Constitution isn't some document that needs to be updated all the time. The Constitution defines who we are, basically, and what privileges, what obligations we have, and etc. So it's in that general area. But the Constitution also does need some updating at the moment. And the only reason the Constitution is holding us back, that I can work out, is in our annual conference, in our annual general meeting. We have a requirement that you need 50 voting members to be able to pass resolutions, etc. So that's the main area that I found. But anyway, I'll just go and tell you some of the other things that need to be done. There's references to Southern Cross Care, which needs to be altered, removed, because Southern Cross Care is not part of, we're not tied up with that anymore. It's gone over to Mercy Care, Mercy Health. As I mentioned, it's the quorum for state officers. That's the main problem that we've got at the moment. There's also the light membership voting that was brought up in about 2012, somewhere around there. But also recently the state chairman had asked, the previous state chairman, sorry, had asked, are there things that are holding us back from doing our jobs? Is the state council being held up and all that? So that was put forward to another group which came up with some proposals. Now those proposals were probably conflict with life membership, but anyway. The other areas, I'll just go through the areas. The other areas, the purposes and objects need to be looked at. And then the fact that we're going to change anything on the Constitution. In 2012, new legislation came up that said that you've got to look after these, you have to alter your Constitution to look after these points. And there's about 18 to 23 points that need to be looked at. In the examination of it, we actually cover those 18 to 23 points reasonably well. But still, there might be needs to alter it to make it clearer. So, as I mentioned, the main areas are voting, the general meetings, voting area, and there's two models that we probably use. One is the model we've got at the moment, which is a delegation goes to the annual general meeting, and they are the ones that are able to vote. Another one that was put up as a proposal was that every member should be able to vote. So, in the case of if we follow up with every member is able to vote, well then the life membership one is redundant, doesn't exist anymore. So they're the main areas that we need to address. And today I suppose the main area that was just to let you know what we've done so far, and possibly a bit of the program. We were hoping to actually finish this by this next state conference. I can't see that being done at this stage. or would like to get some indication from the people here as to which one you would prefer. Now, the current model that exists is that the organisation is governed by state council, and the organisation also has another primary governing thing, which is the branches, and this is built into the Constitution. The Constitution says that the order itself is governed by the state council, but the primary area of works will be done in the branches. And if you look at the Constitution and if you're studying your own branch, you'll find that you've got to elect a branch council each year. So that's part of the Constitution. So the Constitution, the organisation is arranged as state council branch, and the branch is where everything is, where the main part of the order is being done. Now the Constitution also gives us diocesan councils, which we haven't really got any. That was set up at the last in 95, when the last Constitution was altered. It's also got district chairman in between there, and basically we're a flat system. In other words, the branch is the one that's got to work out what they want to do. State council is more governing to make sure that everything is being done correct. But the voting model that we have at the moment is that the state councillors get to vote at the annual general meetings. There's also district chairman who are able to vote. There's also our state chairman who are able to vote. So, and branches, the way that they vote is the branches actually have a meeting beforehand and decide what they will present at the state council at the annual general meeting, and they send out 2 delegates. So the branch, every member here has voting rights. And the voting rights is directly with the branch, which is where you're doing your primary work, and from there 2 delegates are sent. Probably before I get off that part, we can go to the second one, which sounds a bit simpler. You probably should realise that the branches have an obligation in that case to send at least 2 people there as delegates. At the annual conference, we want everybody to come. There's many people who come, and they're entitled to come, because the Constitution says that every member is entitled to do that. So, and in fact, the state council encourages that everyone does go. But it also needs to be taken into account by branches themselves that they should send 2 members each year. And that's the problem we're getting at the moment. Not all branches are sending delegates. The delegates are dropping from the required 50 that we need. And so that's causing this problem. In other words, we can't govern anymore. Sorry, my mouth's going very dry. Sorry.
Got a drink.
So really, that's what I wanted to make that point there, that the branches, especially for this year and the next couple of years, until we actually change the Constitution, to make sure you send 2 delegates each year, and that's part of the obligation of the branches that they do that. The second one was a proposal that every member votes at the state model would be better. The model that we've got, the model that we've got at the moment was set up many years ago. In fact, it was set up when we first, when the order was formed in 100 years ago. And it was modelled on the system in America, so modelled on the Knights of St. Columbus, where they had 4 divisions within the organisation. The entry division, and then 4 others before the government level was set up. And the Victoria and the Australian system was exactly the same, or pretty much exactly the same, except there were only 2 divisions. And the idea behind it is that the order is actually operates at a discerning level. So in other words, people discuss information together between them, and they discern which is the best to go. And that voting system that we've got at the moment is built up on that area. So in other words, branches discuss what they need, what they believe needs to be done, and then pass it through. So in other words, everyone's already got some ideas of what's going on. And also the setup that we've got at the moment is that it's organised as instead of being set up as a business model, it's actually set up as a community model. So our organisation is set up as a community model, and that's the reason we've got things like councillors, because in the community area you've got groups who try out people within their group, and they have councillors who make decisions on their behalf. The councils making decisions on what being presented to them. So, but the other model that we're talking about, which is the business one, the business model where people vote straight into the general meeting. So that's more on the cost. That is what I like to see. So I'm going to vote for this. And there could be decisions or emotions passed on in that sort of setup where the good for the whole group isn't actually there. So, but I'm just giving you a couple of ideas to think about as to which one would probably be best. So really what we need to get an indication is, do we spend our effort working on the model that we've got now? And basically, the way we do that is we make the voting level, which is set only 50 people, make it relative to the number of branches that you've got. So if you reduce the branches, it drops down as a percentage. If you increase in branches, it increases as a percentage. So that's one option. The other option for the other one is you have to work out what's your minimum number of people.
So all you're asking is for a show of hands or
we could either show of hands or we could
Well, I'd suggest we got 2 problems and Paul's trying to figure out which one's the best one. I personally would think you put up both models and put it to a vote and let people decide what they want, rather than sitting here and humming and hawing about it. We've been carrying on about this for forever, and we're just getting nowhere.
So you're saying it's like at
the state conference, you put it up and say, fine, here it is. You have an extraordinary vote about it or whatever, and just say, this is it. Like, I'm in Lions, which a lot of you guys will know anyway, and in Lions, for argument's sake, each line is entitled to attend, but the number of delegates you got is decided by the number of members you've got. And which is like the Warrigal, for argument's sake, which I belong to, has 56 members in it. So the answer is technically, we've got 56 members who can attend, but we're only entitled to about 7 members to vote. And we're still the largest one in the whole of our district anyway. But the answer is, all the others combined can outvote Warragul in a heartbeat, even though we're the largest club in the district by a bloody country mile. And I think the same should apply to us, that we as an organisation tell our branches, this is the options, tell us what you want to do. It's as simple as that. We're making a bloody mountain out of a little molehill. That's it. I reckon it's about a two-minute job. Sorry, Paul, but as I say, you're tearing yourself apart trying to figure out which is the right one. I just put it out to the branches and say, guys, tell us which one you prefer. Explain it to them in relatively simple language. You know what I mean?
Yes, well, that's what I'm getting at. Which one do you prefer? But if we're going for a vote, with a vote it would have to be a special resolution. And a special resolution would have the exact wording of the Constitution that it's going to change.
Then you know what you're voting for.
Yes, that's right. That's right. What I'm asking is the concept. And the concept that you've just given me is similar to the concept we've got at the moment.
Okay. I personally don't give a stuff which one you use, but you seem to have stuck with a huge problem trying to resolve it, and the answer is just put it out there and let the troops decide which one they want. End of story.
You're not going to be on the monitor anyway. The chairman sitting at the front is not going to know whether 7 hands went up, or 2 hands went up, or 4 hands, who was a delegate and who wasn't.
No, John?
Doesn't matter.
Well, Chairman, there's a couple of unasked questions in what Paul has said. If we're dealing with branches, how many branches have we got today? Do we say active branches? Do we say branches that are in recess? I think that dealing in branches is fraud. The second question is, and as Paul has spoken, he has not said this, if we're going to allow all members to vote, should we put a percentage around that? Say, as the Knights Consultative Division has recommended, 5% of membership as at the 1st of July. That gives a number for the legitimacy of a state conference meeting. When Southern Cross Care was in operation, it simply had a number 20 for an annual general meeting. We could go the same way and say a minimum of 20 members for a state conference. If we've got 50 members can vote. So we can think of just a number, or we can think of a percentage of the total membership of the order who would be allowed to vote.
Again, it's the two models. You didn't discern that it's 2 different models we're looking at. Whether it's delegates or actually members.
Are we going to consider voting by proxy? I mean, people, the juror, not like you all come down here. So we'll deny them the opportunity to vote.
Well, the other one that's included in that would need to be looked at is the technology side. So will we use technology without people in Mildura? If they're able to operate with us as a one, even though they're over there, technology can say that they are in attendance. The only thing with the technology, the other side you have to look at, technology is pretty simple at the moment, or you're thinking of it simply at the moment, but in actual fact you have to think about what about the privacy side of it. Now the order of government and all that would love you to use technology because they can monitor everything that's going on. Now that doesn't matter, but it's not only the government that monitors what goes on. For example, this thing that's being projected here is actually being stored in the USA because it's a Google thing. So anything that's going on here, it's sorted in the USA. They might have privacy laws there, but the privacy law doesn't mean that you're not a USA resident. So you know, these are the little things that.
But the proxies could be mailed to you 2 weeks before, 2
No,
or 3 weeks.
I'm talking about the technology.
I'm not talking about. If you've got people up in Mildura who want to vote, they should be able to be issued with forms which you can just email up to them, and they can fill it in and send it back to you, not electronically, in the post with a signature, and that could be made out to the chairman and tell you which way they want to vote on a certain resolution.
Again, what you're talking about is if we go to the model where all members can vote, which is a business-like model, well, you would probably consider proxies. But if you're not talking about, if you're talking about the other model where you have delegates, you'll find that in that aspect, proxies doesn't work because proxies isn't.
Joe will take it off. We'll talk about that later. Okay.
Anyway, that's just a general idea of what's happening and where some of the problems are.
As you can see, it's a lot of work for this constitution, and Paul's done a hell of a lot of work to get it even to this stage. So I apologise it's taken so long especially to the wider members. It's taken 7 years to get to this stage. But we'll hopefully over the next 12 months we'll have it sorted out. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I'd probably just like to mention one thing. It's actually who we are that we have to think about too. A lot of places people say, oh, what do you do? And you say, oh, I don't know. There's so many things we can do. I can't tell you what we do. If you're saying this in the poor, for example, you say, oh, we're looking after the poor. So they've got a focus on it, but our focus is spread across anything that's altruistic. So in other words, we've got that many different things. When you look at our objects, you say our objects don't actually don't give us a real focus as to what we do. And in fact, Queensland are having trouble at the moment being able to get charity status because of our objects here, because of our objects. And while they were discussing it verbally with them, I said, but what about the other states? Victoria, Western Australia, New South Wales? And they said, oh yeah, we're going to review them in a few years' time. So, you know, we could be in a bit of trouble, not trouble like the reason, so that was the other thing. And what I would like to just say is once we alter the constitution, it doesn't matter what we alter it for. If we just alter it, for example, for the right members, we also need to rewrite the sequences of them. So if we alter it, we need to do that. Rewrite guides of it, move them into a different area. So what we'll probably need to require is also some legal help in this aspect, because at the moment our constitution has statements of purpose at the beginning and rules as part 2. That's the way they used to be done. But if you alter it, all the statement of purpose doesn't exist anymore, and it's got to be moved into the rules somehow. So there's 2 different formats in front that need to be merged together. So that's the other thing that is up as well.
It would be fair to say, Brother Paul, that what the State Council is trying to do is if there's a number of changes to the Constitution to be made, to make them all at the same time, so you're not incurring multiple legal costs, incurring multiple cost to, I think there's a fixed cost every time you change the constitution, you change 2 words, isn't it?
That's right, if we do make an operation this year, next year we make the next operation to change 2 words again, yeah, pay
It's $180.
$180 each time.
Yes, a quick one. Paul Clay from this Tom Kilo branch. Now we go around the Constitution and so on and so forth. Brother Jeep told us straight out, it's not the way about which way we're going to go.
That was only one point.
No, let me finish up, right? Now when we got a state conference, every branch they got 2 members with 2 delegates. 2 delegates, yes. Now those 2 delegates, they got a vote at the motion which is at the state conference. Is struck by the members of the bench. Alright? That's the rules as far as I know. Now when you're going to change the constitution or whatever, cross out, cross B and so on and so forth, if you do send those forms to the bench to be discussed, the member, they will tell the 2 delegates which one they're going to vote. It's simple as that.
That's what happens now.
There's no other way out. And we avoid all the juvenile. I remember enormous banners to solve time. We changed the new big constitution then, and we had a special meeting. And again, it was exactly the same thing. Through the branch, the delegate come up there, and they vote according to what they've been instructed to vote. Simple as that. But thereby you get all the men involved.
Paul, I understand what you're saying. That's about a specific thing, but there are so many other things that need to be looked at, changing, not just that part of the.
Well, if that's the case, then, Brother Stasha,
Just rewrite it.
you've got to call a meeting for the state conference. Simple as that. If you've got so many things to discuss, you cannot act on the state conference guy. Make a die for it and go.
We might have to.
Probably one thing that should mention also is that we could be an unincorporated organisation and all this stuff wouldn't really matter too much about it, so doing it legally. Now the reason we, so as an organisation, if we decided we were an organisation and we weren't incorporated or anything like that, we would have made our own rules, our own constitution, which applies prior to 1995 when we were unincorporated. You could change the constitution each year without having to worry about making sure that the legal side occurs. Since then we've incorporated, and also what's happened is an organisation called the Charities Organisation, ACNC. So there's not only one organisation that we have to tie up with, we're also tied up with the ACNC. So there's two legal areas that we have to keep, make sure our constitution addresses those areas. Anyway, I'll leave it at that at the moment.
As you can see, there's a lot of work got to be done here, so not as simple just going to the state conference just to move. But thank you, Paul, for as much work as you've done. And look, it is an area where, if possible, if anybody's got any expertise to help us out in that area, we would appreciate your help. Last but not least, out about the formal part of the day, I'd like to call upon probably the most enthusiastic member we've got in the Knights, Brother Mark Farrell, to talk about new branches.
Okay, I realise it's late in the day, so just try and listen. Just going to inform you. Okay. So myself and Brother Steve Murphy from Werribee. Now, originally he was from
St. Peter's in Hoppers Crossing. Okay, so just sort of said that. In our district, there was Werribee. When I say there was, because originally there sort of was Werribee, Bacchus Marsh, Melton, Sudbury. Okay, so there was 4. We had this, him and I had this discussion at one of our functions, a few years, whatever. And yeah, went on. And what I was talking to him was my experience at Oakley. Now, at Oakley 101, there's 2 guys here from there, so it's 3 work. Oakley was a branch that had 4 parishes. St. Peter's, Clayton, obviously Sacred Heart Oakley, Holy Redeemer, and St. Andrews in Florida. But we never had any members from 2 of those parishes, okay? So we probably had a branch of maybe 10, 8, sometimes 12 max St. Peter's. Okay, so that was that experience. Then when I went to Bacchus Marsh, they had a branch that just had, say, 8 to 9 members. The most we've got up to is pretty much now minus 1 guy who just died. So we probably had about 10 or 11. What I noticed the difference was Oakley we used to have committee or executive meetings. Bacchus Marsh never had that because there was only 2 masses on the weekend. There was 3 actually, but we all only went to 2. And you would see everyone after mass, you'd see everyone around the street, and we'd be doing a lot of talking anyway. So this model, or the idea of one branch, one parish, because what I found was everything we did at Bacchus Marsh was related to that parish of Bacchus Marsh. So when we went to recruit people, it was all about the Knights, about our parish and us. Okay, so we thought about this in the Werribee region. Now Werribee revolves around 3 parishes, which were Hoppers Crossing, St. Peter's, St. James, Hoppers Crossing North, and St. Andrews, which was in Werribee itself. So we went on our own little crusade, and we decided that we were going to start 2 new branches in the 2 other parishes. So there was already one that just met at St. Peter's in Hoppers Crossing. In Hoppers Crossing North we're going to start one, and back to where it all started originally. So in essence we then went ahead over the last 18 months and we started 2 branches. Both those branches were started totally differently. And these lessons that we learned were because in that manual there's actually nothing about starting a branch from a practical experience, which myself and Steve have done, and being on that board committee, hopefully we can bring some light. The first one was primarily started from the Peter here, who they had a mental life weekend, and out of that sort of had that men's group develop. And it's not I wouldn't say a spin-off, but an association with that. Brother Peter firstly got reinstalled because he had experience in the nights before at Footscray, and then he became the pivotal point for that branch to operate. So that branch sort of became established after a mental life weekend, and these fellows were brought together. And there was a lot more, I can't remember the exact number, but the night the branch started, which was roughly 12 months ago, maybe more, 13 months. I think there would have been about 8 or 9 new members, plus there was one from South Australia that just seemed to turn up, which was quite interesting. But so that was that branch. The second branch we started early this year, we started the process of finding members. This branch was really difficult to start, I must admit. And it was difficult because there was no established group that we could piggyback off. We basically had to start from scratch. So myself, Brother Steve, went out door knocking. So I spent 13 nights in total going to different houses, and some people you had to see 2 or 3 times. The thing that I learned, the second one, the guys who I met for the first time, and I know that we all do this, we instantly, you get a gut feeling or a judgment, think, this guy will be really good. This guy will be bloody useless. I'm wasting my time in this place. The best member we recruited was a guy I thought, this guy is never going to join this organisation. And anyway, he was Indian, I could hardly understand him. But the one thing we had in common was we both loved cricket. That discussion went for an hour, and then we went on. The night that the second branch started, we only installed 4 new brothers, okay? And plus Brother John Hennessy, who has taken over as the chairman of that branch. Now that branch basically that was like a month ago. Remember in May? So what we saw today from Michael is what that branch is starting with. They're starting with their vision, and that's evolved since we started the first branch. The exciting thing is that although I'm here now talking about it all in hindsight, right, and there's all these mistakes we made, I feel it's so much better that we actually did it, had a go to find these things out, because if we didn't, we would have been feeling as miserable as what we were beforehand. Maybe we should try something, just try something. So, from here, the key thing is that I think is easily overlooked is the support new branches need, especially, and when I say in the first 2 years, 5 years, every branch is different. Some branches it might be 2 years and they're sort of self-contained, off and running. They need nourishment, and I believe that comes from these seminars, state conferences, and actually associating with other nights, whether that be district or state. Okay, that's really important. The other thing I found was we've actually, because we can't just stop at 2, that I've had other requests from other priests who want branches started, and at one point there was 3 on the table, but I've read a bit about history. I saw the Germans sort of open up a few fronts, and that wasn't too good, so we decided just one at a time, you know. So the next one we're looking at is in Ballarat. Now, just to contradict myself, we're actually looking at something totally different, and that is, in Ballarat, there's this school, right, it's called St Patrick's. Pride themselves on winning footy games. So I went to their pastoral bloke, who just happens to be Brother Tom, the last state chair, his nephew, and I said, look, your school the legacy of your school can be that your school bought all these players to board so you can win footy games, or it could be that the legacy of your school starts a branch of the Knights of the Southern Cross. So when guys leave the school, get too old to play footy, they can actually do something really positive in the community. Because the one thing that Brother Steve and myself thought, there's no model, well there's, not that I know of, there might be somewhere else, there's nowhere in the Knights, everything's parish based, but there's nothing school based that a school might want to take on a branch and get that started. So the goodwill of the school is lived through the legacy of the Knights in that school. Now, look, I might be back here in 3 years saying that didn't work, but then again, we could be back here in 3 years saying, guys, we can create another track here, this may work, okay? So that'll be good. The other one was, I got contacted from Ballarat from a men's group who basically are a prayer group, but they're sick of just doing prayers, they want to do something else. And in essence, that's why I joined, because I felt like I could do something a bit more than just saying a few prayers. Still do the prayer bit, but so that's where we're at, okay? The message I want to tell guys is this: we've learned some really good lessons, okay? And that's happened. In our district now, we've actually got 6 branches, okay? So that's good. The district problem, which is a positive problem, is that we're probably going to have to cut our district in half, okay? So we'll probably end up with 2 districts.
somebody put up their hand for that district.
Yeah, well, that's another problem, but that's a good problem too. What, I'm trying to think of his name, somewhere, my brother Colin, yeah, he'll come to me his name, good fella, but he's the chair there. Him and our brother Rawlins, that's his name, Rawlins. So, Bacchus Marsh, Sunbury, sort of in a triangle, there's Gisborne. So Gisborne doesn't have a member, doesn't have a branch. What we've done is we've recruited a guy from Gisborne to join Bacchus Marsh, and he's got 2 guys in his branch from Gisborne. Okay, so in a year's time, we're trying something different, and that is recruiting someone from a parish to join another branch, and then a year later we work with them to establish the branch so that more than one person has an experience. Okay, now in the end, I don't know which model is successful, but this I do know. If you plan to do nothing, nothing will happen. Okay, that's pretty much, I can guarantee that. And even if you try and fail, you'll be better off for it. I just feel that if more guys, that the image, and I've just got this one image, and I'll finish up soon, but when I was at Oakley, they had this big minutes book. I might know it after it, because we used to drink a fair bit of booze there, actually. And one night, we decided to just have a look through the minutes book, and it was like 1962, and branch 101 had 101 members in attendance. The opening minutes were Chairman Perez allowed every brother to light a cigarette who wished to smoke, and could the secretary please read the minutes. So what we thought was, in this room there was 101 guys, all smoking, and Brother Bernie Parabo used to say that at the start of the meeting there'd be a bit of a haze, and it'd come down, and by the end of the meeting you were like swinging. Okay. Those days are gone. Okay. I think, I don't know.
We'll bring that back, brother.
But this is what I'm thinking. If I go back to Oakley, there was like, say there was 12 guys representing 4 parishes in total. It's 3 guys per parish. If you had a small group per parish, only 6 or 7 members representing each parish collectively, we're more spread, we're more united at the parish level. I can see this concept working. The priest is more behind it, because one thing we've found favourable, it's easy to recruit blokes to the nights when the nights are based here at our parish. The idea, even though the idea is not totally true, the idea is that this parish, can you join the nights, but we meet at someone else's parish, is a bit foreign, okay? So, and this is a concept I think that's important that we're chasing. So far it's worked, it's still got work to do, and I hope that I can come back later and report on other positive things. Anyone wants to start a parish, a branch, it's important to speak up and say something about it, because there is help now, because we have had these experiences and we've got a fair idea. Thanks.
The Knights are very fortunate to have a man like Mark. As I said, met Mark when he was at Oakley, and Oakley was struggling in a big way, and he got that branch up and running. He left, then we stagnated again, then with Brother Neil joined the branch, and he's hopefully getting it up and running again. But one thing about Mark, he's a trier. At the end of the day, if we don't ask people to join the Knights, we're not going to get people to join the Knights. We don't talk to our parish priests and get in front of the parish priest, it ain't going to work. One thing that Mark does, he gets in front of the parish priest and he talks to them and he encourages them to, if there's good people in the church, send them our way. Well done, Mark. I apologise, Brother Tom Brady, he was an apology today. Just for everybody that doesn't know, Brother Tom came off a trailer, hit first, his eye sockets popped out, he done his back, he's been in hospital now for, I think it's about 2 months, that's with rehab and all. As of Thursday, he's now back home. We've taken the big brace off him, so he's just got a foam brace. he'll be out of action for at least another 4 weeks, at least. They've told him not to do any farm work, so he said he's slowly walking around now. So he's definitely on the mend. He did say to me just he'd like to thank the Shepparton branch. So I'm not sure if there's anybody here from Shepparton today. Okay, I did thank Shepparton, alright, so, but he really appreciated the work that the Shepparton people have done in assisting him while he's been at the rehab. So if you could pass that on to anybody up that way, Peter, I'd appreciate it. If you've got a bit of time and you're not doing anything, just give him a call, he'll appreciate the call. We hope to see him back on board later in the year, but he's a great man, so keep him in our prayers. That's the formal part of the day. I apologise I've only left 10 minutes for open forum, general business, but the floor's open. Happy to answer any questions we can. Brother Peter.
I'm going to ask a hairy one because I don't really want to ask it.
Oh, there's a roll, pass it on to somebody.
What happens in terms of, everybody sends out at this time of the year a bill for your membership fees?
Yes.
I haven't seen any bill. We've got an AGM in July and I don't want members who've only paid $30 I think to join, getting a bill for 100 or whatever, and then decide they don't want to stay. So what's happening about how the bills work?
What actually happens is normally in the month of June our subscriptions get sent out. Sometime in June. They're officially not supposed to go until July, but in June sometime they will go out. Paul's the ones that sends them out, so they've already gone?
Yeah, Paul, I spoke to Paul earlier in the week and he said he's going to send them out.
I don't believe it's been sent out. Has anybody received any bills? No. So they haven't been sent out, but sometime in the month of June.
Might be let people know the subscription hasn't changed.
Yeah, there's no change. One thing I said is that the state chairman was going to hold the status quo and everything. No increases in membership fees.
New members came into the new branch, we're only charged $30.
That's correct. They're the new member of the night, so
they'll get a bill now for
$110.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure whether they're aware of that.
As branch chairman, I'd like to just explain that's the cost if they need anybody.
No, I believe that would have been explained when they joined, that the first year was 35 and then should have been.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was.
It generally always is.
So we've got two costs.
I was wondering, would it be possible going forward to be able to pay online again? Because even when you put in your membership number, you can't access.
No, I believe you can pay it online. Yeah, that's good. You can pay online. You can pay by cheque, online, BPay, credit card.
Oh yeah, BPay, but it said they could put in your number and then you can.
I'll take that offline.
I'll just ask another one. So once the bill, you're saying it's July, so it's due in July, basically, is that?
June the 1st. June the 1st. July the 1st.
Yeah. And how much leeway is there in terms of?
There's not. We send out a bill.
What do we call it? Financial.
Non-financial is not till after they've paid for 12 months.
Okay, thank you. So we get clarity, I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, so the ward's supposed to encourage people to pay the bill.
If you want to vote at a conference, you have to pay.
Yeah. To be a delegate, you've got to be a paid member. That's the vote, that's October.
I think reminder notices normally go out about October.
So the bill goes out first, it's actually a subscription, and then if it's not paid by October, we send a second one. If it's not paid by December, we send a third one.
We're following the Trinity.
Oh yeah, we've got a treasury here, you've just got to make sure everything's up to date.
Treasury.
Sort of up the branch chairman to take up the
true.
Whatever I don't chase up, you'll chase me up.
You've been making reference to freedom of religion.
Yes.
And I think Australia ought to update itself to freedom of belief. Because these guys that have unwritten beliefs of being irreligious and unwritten beliefs of being
belief system. So it ought all come under the same umbrella, and we'll be talking about freedom of belief. And all these beliefs ought to be of equal importance and ought to make space for each of the other ones. This is, if they're all clipped into an umbrella, the umbrella fit is belief. And I think we could get the politicians to stretch the religious definition in the Constitution to include belief, because back in 1901 when it was written, it's the same concept. So do we want to jump on freedom of belief
As opposed to freedom of religion?
As an expansion of freedom of religion and as a more useful topic to discuss? Freedom of belief.
Belief is faith is religion. We can take this
Belief is irreligion.
We'll take it on board.
One other comment on something else. Business cards. Several parish businesses support the parish magazine but they're not necessarily KSC family members. When will those businesses be?
They are open today, Peter. We accept them today.
Thank you.
That's for you, Doc, right?
Rawlins, I just heard business cards, so that's why. I just take 60 seconds. I don't just want business cards because I'm new to this and I want a brief description of what the person does in the parish, whether it's a good person to do business with. Otherwise, I can get a million business cards. Anyone can just Google. So the idea is, I think that when you do this, that's what.
That was an example of they sponsor the newsletter in churches.
Yeah, so please send as many as you can, but do me an idea of what they, why you want on the register. Thank you.
For those of us who were at Mass this morning, Father Marcus gave an excellent homily, particularly with the introduction of voluntary assisted suicide on assisted dying on Wednesday, in other words, euthanasia. And he also drew our attention to an excellent letter from the bishops of Archbishop of Melbourne, Bishop of Ballarat, Bishop of Sale, and Bishop of Sandhurst. So all of us here are current. I don't see any interstate brothers here. So all of us are belonging to a diocese where our bishop has signed this letter. That's to the people, clergy, and religious Catholic communities in Victoria regarding voluntary assisted dying. I recommend we all get a copy of this.
Where did you get it?
We got
to Mass today.
Mass today? Okay. Yeah. So you should have this in your parish. I would strongly encourage you to read it yourself. Read it at your branch meeting, and also read it in any other parish groups you have. Read, not only has it got the letter, but it's also got some practical steps we can do to show our belief in Catholic teaching and support for the disabled, ill, elderly and terminally ill. So I'd encourage you to promote that as much as we can. And as Father Goulding said, the way we counter the culture of death is by showing that we stand for the culture of life. And that's how the Christian community has always done that since the founding of the church 2,000 years ago. So, and maybe some of our work as knights can be either to directly help people who are terminally ill or provide support to other groups who directly helping the terminally ill. I recommend that to your attention and action, and pass it on to all our fellow Catholics and other people in the community. Thanks, brother.
Last but not least, I want to thank everybody for coming today. I'd like to thank the United Consultant Division for putting on the spread today and looking after everybody, so we can pass that on. Brother John, the last three things I want to advertise. First of all, on the 8th of August, here at St Clair's, St Mary of the Cross, 11 AM, hosted by the Knox branch, the assistance of the United Consultant Division. At 11 o'clock, followed by a light lunch. State conference, it'll be a one-day affair, same as last year, in this room again. So keep the Sunday 27th of October. If you enjoyed today, it'll even be better on that day. Okay? So we've got 50 here today. It's not enough. For the work that our Water Development Committee do to get only 50 people here. It's just not enough. We've got to fill this place up. So I want you to go back to your fellow Knights and push that these days are good days. And let's make sure we fill this place up. Last but not least, I'll put my other hat on, and that's of the Chairman of the Priesthood and Education Fund. It's the biggest thing the Knights do. The Knights are renowned for it. Our seminarians love us for it. The Archbishop loves us for it. Last year we got 450 in attendance. Fantastic effort. I'm not saying we're going to get the same this year, but my aim is to get 400 people. We've got Susan Alberti as our guest speaker. We've got our MC, recently retired race caller Brian Martin. I want everybody to go back to their branches and encourage to either sponsor the night, become a bronze member, get a table. You can't get that, get a table of 10s or 10. I'm talking to the converted here, but let's push it. Let's make it the biggest thing we can do for the year. If you've got any contacts that people have got businesses that are happy to donate any items, be it restaurants, food vouchers, or anything you've got at home that's unopened and you don't like it, give it to me and we'll auction it. Well, thank you very much for being here.
I'll have material available for anyone that wants to promote it. So.
That's it. I'm sorry. Okay, brothers, we are reminded of our obligation to exercise the utmost tact and discretion in everything we say and do as Knights of the Southern Cross. Notwithstanding the general nature of some of our activities, there is much ordered business which is ours alone. Let us mind it well. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Amen. Knights prayer. O God, bless our fellow members of the Knights of the Southern Cross and their families. Bless all our activities and sorrows of all times, for the great glory and the salvation of all. May the souls of faithful departed rest in peace. Amen. Prayer to St. Mary of the Cross, the Killer. Most loving God, thank you for your example of St. Mary of the Cross, who is the living of the gospel witness to liberty continually first person. We pray for God's help and favour and courage. We pray for your intercession for our needs. We make this prayer for Jesus our Lord. Amen. Prayer for vocations. Heavenly Father, help us to respond to the day of mission of the church. Help all your people know their vocations in life and assist them to prepare. We are greatly glory in the service of your people, for many priests and religious. Give those who call gracious God generously, persevere faithfully. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Prayer for world peace. Lord of all, please direct the world apart through peace. Mary, our Mother, and all the angels and saints in heaven, please join the prayers of all the brothers and sisters on earth for peace in all things. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen. Divine praises. Blessed be God.
Blessed be His holy name.
Blessed be Jesus Christ, true God and true man.
Blessed be the name of Jesus.
Blessed be His most sacred heart.
Blessed be His most precious blood.
Blessed be Jesus in the most holy sacrament of the altar.
Blessed be the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete, and our guide.
Blessed be the great Mother of God, Mary, most holy.
Blessed be the Holy Conception.
Blessed be her glorious Assumption.
Blessed be the name of Mary, Virgin Mother.
Blessed be Saint Joseph, the most chaste spouse.
Blessed be God, King Angels and saints.
Holy Mary, Mother of God and of the Church.
Obtain for us any holy priests and religious.
Our Lady, help of Christians, patrons of Australia.
Pray for us.
Saint Mary of the Cross, patrons of our order.
Pray for us.
For all our departed members and their families and the awareness in our society for the rights of the unborn child, we would say, Hail Mary.
Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. The Lord bless us and keep us from all evil and bring us to everlasting life.
Amen.
Let us go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be